So it is important when you mock stuff up to mock it up with the things that you're actually going to use. You see we got a shock here that it's blown out, brand new shock, but brand new 20 years ago probably. Yeah, like a lot of the parts for this car. She doesn't look bad, guys. Most of it seems to be holding up well. Got a light little seep on the rear diff. I thought that it might be the pinion seal, but it's all dry there, so I think it's actually just seeping around a couple of those bolt holes or on that rear cover. And then up in here, you know, we welded all around this stuff, and it was full of grease and gear oil and stuff. I was afraid of it seeping back out of that, but it doesn't look bad. It's got a couple of clean spots where I had a strap wrapped around it, hauling it on the trailer. And yeah, we just kind of go through, look at everything, make sure we're good in the neighborhood. Well, hey guys, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Brian, this is Hogshooter Hotrods, and we work on cars, do stuff, go on adventures, a little bit of all kinds of things, not just strictly hot rod and fabrication related, but that is a majority of our content. So today, we're working on our Project 35 Chevy here. And I'll bring you in under here in just a second and kind of show you what we've got going on. This has been a fun project. We've done a lot and conquered a lot of the issues with this old car. I hooked up the speedometer, and by doing that, I realized a few errors of things that I had done building this car. And I want to show you guys, so hey, maybe it'll help somebody not make the same mistakes that I made when I built this. So come on in here and let's check this out. Yep, the tail lights. That's the view everybody ought to have of the car. So what we got going, yeah, no, I just can't quit. 4th of July, got our, yeah, spinning the shaft with the American flag on there, whatever. So we've got our speedo cable is like leaking. You know, when I first put this together, I didn't even hook the speedo up because of this issue here where I put my drop down for my mount for my trans. Well, one of my main members of my drop down is directly in line with that speedo cable, and it's putting a lot of pressure on it, and I think that's pushing against our O-ring and just making it leak like crazy. I cleaned it off earlier. It's leaked most of the fluid out, I believe, so it's not over full anymore, or full to the point where it's going to run out of there, whatever, however you want to say it. I did notice that this bolt is not completely tight. So I don't know if this is pulled up tight or not. Maybe it's not quite turned in there right. Whatever, we got to do some fixating. I think I'm going to have to notch out a spot out of this 2x3 or 2x4 square tube here to get this cable where it doesn't hit that and create our issue we're having with, I think it's so much pressure against that, it's making the O-ring, or allowing the O-ring to leak stuff past it. So, you know, I put this car all together and it only had 2 or 3 little drips underneath it, and I thought I was doing really good. Then I hooked up the speedo cable. I come out the next morning and it looked like you had cut its jugular vein. So we have got to fix that. Most everything else looks pretty good under here though. You know, we built this whole thing. I don't have video of building the chassis, but I used the stock 35 Chevy rails from right here back. From right here forward, it's like a 30-something Pontiac, I believe, frame, which is really close to the same. These aren't highly complicated frames. The only thing that was complicated is the little hump that follows the floor on it, and it's got to be right. So we split our frame rails all apart, boxed it all in, built this cross member here. And when I built the cross member and I put the drop down in it, I didn't use this transmission for my mock-up, or even one that was the same style of transmission. Come on out here into the old lawnmower shed. Got a bunch of Chevy fenders and different stuff. And yeah, anyway, here's our trans that we used for mock-up. And you can see by that full bell housing, and it bolts on, that this dude is a 4L60 tranny. Okay, that's all good. They're about the same. But look, there's no mechanical speedometer on a electronic transmission. So not really thinking about it, just building the whole thing, making sure our transmission mounts and everything lined up. We were all good until we get to this point of, hey, everything's hitting. So I think the original thought I had was that this was going to end up with a LS in it, or it's going to end up with a an overdrive trans of a later model, but that's just not the way it ended up going. We got just a standard old turbo 350 transmission. Works great. Just leaking like a sieve right now. All right, so definitely use the same trans style as you're going to build it with when you mock it up, okay? I guess that's a lesson to learn from that deal. I just used whatever I had there. Now, we got to take this thing loose, and I'm pretty sure it's not as tight as what I thought it was. That's cool. We got to pull this cable out. The thing has leaked a ton of fluid out of it, or it always seems like it, right? A half a pint makes a spot that looks like everything that would come out of a human. So let's try to get this back where it might catch that. It's weird because it leaks down into this cross member, lands here, and then it sits there and drips out of the front of it. So you got to kind of follow the leakage there. I'm gonna leave her hanging in, try to get it all to not get on the floor. And yeah, I'm gonna put something around this to cap it off, cover this up, and then we're gonna have to mark and kind of cut us out a spot right in here. When I put that cable on there originally, I popped this piece out because I thought for some reason that I could put it in more easily and then screw the cable into this and then slide everything inside the transmission. I don't even know what I was thinking, but it was wrong. So that's like a 10mm bolt too. In there, and then, yeah, pop that out. Not so much leakage now. I don't know why we have such a huge leak. Man, that O-ring looks okay. Oh, there's a cutout there. I bet I didn't have that cutout lined up good for this thing to poke in and be retained by the little clip or the little bolt piece there. I hope the light is okay for you guys. There. So it goes all the way in flush. And that thing was not flush just a minute ago. So then when this goes in, it should go in, slide around. Uh-oh. Nope, not going to work like that, are we? Okay, come on, sucker. Do what you're supposed to do. Work for daddy. There we go. All right, so that seemed kind of weird. No cuts or anything on it. Maybe we'll just take and leave this thing here and see if it leaks more. Number one issue. Got a 10mm instead of a 1/4 bolt. I don't know that a Turbo 350 was made to have metric fasteners in it. So we are going to fix that right now. Or I've already started fixing it. You guys are more than welcome to stay tuned to this deal. So there you go, just that easy. Put the right bolts in, maybe it'll get tight now. Because before it was fit tight enough to hold it together, but it wasn't tight enough to actually put any pressure on anything. And it might have been once, and me taking it out and putting it back in there in a rush, maybe I messed it up, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's feeling a lot better. Oh, yeah, threads are bad in the hole. We might be able to use a little bit longer bolt. It does have it where it won't fall out of there now. But it's still like, I don't know. Yep, let's hook it back up and we'll see. I thought I was gonna have to do major stuff here. And looking at this, it ain't putting that much pressure on that thing. Why is it leaking like it is? Fellas, that's what I'm wondering. Why so many leaks? Because I mean, we put a nice bend in that line right there. I mean, that thing's not even putting any pressure on that, so that shouldn't be a problem, should it? Why so much trans fluid leaking out when it didn't leak anything before the speedo cable was put in there? It leaked like nothing. If you guys know what's going on, leave me a comment. I mean, it is a Chevrolet. It is a turbo 350. It is first generation stuff. I always hear people complaining about that stuff, leaking and everything, but it's kind of like an old Harley. They just don't rust as fast when they're leaking a lot. Oh man, that is tight. No, it's not. It's my pliers are hitting that bolt. I don't know. I may need to, before I even tighten that all the way up, that thing is fitting entirely loose in there. Not trusting it. Not going to. Nope. Loosen her back up. I'm going to take that bolt out. I'm going to put me a different little bit longer bolt in it. I thought that bolt was going to be too long, so I cut it off. Probably should have left it long. Let's see how many threads we have that are screwed up inside of this thing. And move on. Oh, come on, baby. Definitely, it's probably popped. I don't see much aluminum on it. So I am gonna try a little magic here. A little magic solution of room temperature vulcanizing cream, or yeah, the RTV goodness. I bet that thing don't come out as easy next time anyway. So I'm gonna pop that in. I did put a longer bolt in there, and it catches some good threads. So this thing, we're just gonna pop him right on in. And spin her around a few times. Head back the other way a few times. Get that junk right there. And then, yeah, oh, I hate that squeeze out. Ugly looking. Just the way it goes, eh? I did put a longer bolt in there. It's an inch long. And it does bottom out right about the time the washers touch, so I figure that'll be good enough to get us all the tighten we need. Here you guys go. Get up in there. Yep, gonna give her the old slip joint slipperooski. See if we can't really suck it down at least once. Oh yeah, that's super tight. Okay, that's as much as we can do with that. We'll let that stuff dry for a few hours, and then we'll fire this puppy up, top the trans fluid off, and I'm just gonna let it sit here and we'll see what it does. Well, all right, now we lowered her back down. You know, I pulled this thing out, it's kind of shaking, acting like maybe it was running on 7 cylinders. So, you know, it's always a good tip to go through and like feel those wires, make sure they're pushed down good. Really haven't driven the car very much since I put it together. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I already found this, but yeah. Oh, number 4 is missing out on the sparkles. So just like push that stuff on there tight. Yeah. Take it for a test drive on the lift. Having fun trying to build some heat and everything. Wonder what our trans fluid situation looks like here. Looks like plenty, eh? Give me a second. We're having a moment. There's my rack here somewhere. Maybe just a few ounces over full. It's hot now. Car's been running out here for about 10 minutes. All right, guys, so here was the deal. The whole leaking transmission was not caused by the cable. It was caused by that little bar right there. That little bar was pushing against the adapter or the speedometer output drive, whatever you want to call it. It was pushing against it and causing fluid to be able to walk right by the O-ring in there and making it leak torrentially bad. I put fluid in it last night. Come out here today, and there's no wetness underneath anything. That drip right there, that was there last night when we left. So I think we're in good shape on it. You know, it just goes to show you got to check and check and check when you do it. I must have been in a big hurry because there was transmission fluid pouring out of this. It looked like a garden hose spraying trans fluid out in the floor in the shop. That can't be good for anything. So we did get it fixed up here though, and I believe the only leak that I saw is there's a little oil down here while we were running, and I'm not sure, that may be our rear main leaking a little bit, but that's yeah, a couple of days worth of deposit there. We're gonna get this thing lined out in one of the future videos here, get the trans where it's all good, and then go get us some sheet metal and build a hood for this thing. Yeah, the OBS truck Gonna try to get it wrapped up, get that body work done on the bed, and get it out of here also this summer. We're gonna, just have more videos coming at you guys. Have a few car shows in the works. Getting ready to drive about 10 hours up into Colorado and go check out some cool stuff there. So, hey, if you like what we're putting out, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. It's free to do that. And we'll catch you guys on the next video.